always come to this mosque, but there's a lot of battles you have to win to make it to a mosque in the middle of downtown LA. You don't really win them so much as you just endure them. And the first step to a marginally successful and immensely stressful trip to Jama'ah is getting in your car at 12:40, knowing well that the doors at the front close at 1, and you know that it's going to be a race. But you think that just because you're going to Jama'ah, you have been endowed with a Mario Kart-style invincibility power that will last the entire ride from home to here. And so you drive with rage, and you cut everybody off, and you think the whole time that Allah is behind you, and you will not die. Why would you die on the way to worship Allah? And if you die, aren't you really a martyr? No, actually. But you get all the way here, and you get to parking, and of course, where do you park? Not across the street. Across the street is for the good people. No one here is good. Everyone here parks at Rite Aid. I know it. I've seen all of you do it. I've seen every single one of you park at Rite Aid. And parking at Rite Aid is if you're here from 12:50 to around 1:05. Anytime after that, you park at Ralph's, and Ralph's seems just like way more legit. So if you park at Ralph's, you end up spending that little dua session after the first part of the khutbah just praying that your car didn't get towed. And it seems like a waste of dua time when you could just be praying for a place in heaven, but whatever, you do it. So you exit the parking lot, and inevitably you exit where there's a homeless guy sitting on a bucket yelling at you. And this is the real-life manifestation of those fairy tale trolls that just sit at the bridge and yell at you and ask you to pay for them, otherwise you can't cross the bridge. Except this guy yells at you in a language that you just don't understand, and also the repercussions for not paying him are just self-guilt, and you don't get eaten, as you would by a troll. So you walk by him, and I'm not here to make fun of homeless people, but this guy in particular, something about it bugs me because he's trying to upstream all the innocent, hardworking homeless people that are sitting right outside the mosque. He's trying to get to your wallet before they do. But little does he know that karma's got him, because that's where all the cheap Muslims park that can't even afford the $2 parking across the street. So you make it here, you made it past the being late, you made it past the crazy traffic, you made it past the homeless troll man trying to charge you, and you get to the front door, and this is the moment of truth, of course. You've just been trying to get here before 1, and of course it's 12:59. You look at your watch, you make eye contact with the security guard, he looks at his watch, he sees 1:01. So what does he do? He puts his hand in front of the door and gives you that obscure wave to the Asian market across the street. And if you weren't late every week, you wouldn't know what he was talking about, but you are late every week, so you go through the routine, muttering to yourself the whole time, God, I'm never going to make it on time here. God, it's never going to work. And that's the first thought that's in your head when you're coming here to Jama'ah, which seems like not spiritual at all. And then you get into this door, and you realize that through all that stress, you need to make wudu, which is not a good feeling. If you're a germophobic Muslim, the mosque bathroom ranks only behind Abu Ghraib on the list of places you don't want to spend time. So you go in, and I mean, this mosque bathroom is not that bad, but it still suffers from some of those symptoms, those inevitable symptoms. Symptom number 1, the floor is wet. Why is the floor wet? Why? Every single bathroom is the same in America, but only the mosque floors are wet, and it's inexplicable. It has to be some kind of jinn story that we don't really know about yet. And then symptom number 2, of course, is the cacophony of coughing, of snorting, of wheezing, of grunting. And it's mainly coming out of this really old guy that's using his walker and lifting his leg with Herculean strength into the sink. I can't even do that. This guy's like 90 years old and he's trying to do this. Anyway, symptom number 3 is the middle-aged man with a Nike shirt who, in the middle of his wudu, turns around, takes his phone out of his pocket and hands it to you and says, here, hold this while I finish the wudu. And you're just itching to tell him that nowhere in the Quran does it say that it is fard to get this area of your body wet. And that if you are taking the same safety precautions to make wudu as you do when you are jumping into a swimming pool, you are doing something completely wrong. Completely wrong. And then when you hand him his phone after he's done with wudu, and he doesn't thank you, and he yells at you saying that the Malcolm X shirt you're wearing into prayer is haram to pray with, you want to tell him that he's wearing a Nike shirt, and Nike is a Greek goddess, which seems a lot worse than wearing a Malcolm X shirt. Anyway, you go, you make your wudu. Of course, if you're like me, you're a shoe wiper. Any shoe wipers in here? Of course. I do like the shoe wiping. There is one night a year where I don't do shoe wiping. I elevate to sock wiping, and that is Laylatul Qadr. That is worth 1,000 nights. I mean, that should make up for all of the shoe wiping nights that I do. And so you make your wudu. You've gone through the tardiness, you've gone through the human troll, the illegal parking, illegal driving, the front door fiasco, the bathroom fiasco, and now it's time to go pray. So you go, you find the last spot in the main prayer area, you sit down. It's a beautiful khutbah, whether it's Uncle Salam Mariyati or Dr. Ahmed Yunus, and you're enjoying it, and it's a beautiful moment, and you're having a moment with God. And then what happens? Some guy just comes and sits in front of you. Where? How? Ya Jama'ah, this is not allowed. Who said that you can just come and sit in front of me when there's no other spaces? It doesn't make any sense. There's no place on earth that I can think of where this is allowed besides at the mosque. And then when it comes to the dua time at the end of the first khutbah, you pray that your car didn't get towed from Rouse. And then the guy finishes the khutbah, and it's a great khutbah, and then they make the iqamah. And then, of course, after the iqamah comes the insane human jostling for spots on the line. And this guy that just plopped a seat in front of you, he's the biggest offender of this. He's just jamming his 7-foot wide body into the line that didn't have any room in the first place. And then not just that, he now has one arm on your abdomen and one arm on your back, and he's moving you micrometers to get onto the line. And not just that, the guy next to you who was doing so well up to this point has now interlocked his pinky toe with your pinky toe. And you are now trying to move your leg away from this interlocking, but this guy has been doing this for years, and he's just anchoring your foot to the ground. You cannot move. And so the prayer begins, and you try and let these bad thoughts out, and Sheikh Asim, his voice is carrying, and it's very nice, and you feel the wisdom, and you stay focused up until maybe the guy next to you, the pinky interlocker, starts coughing into his right hand, and you make a minor calculation in your head that the second the prayer is over, you got to get out of here so you don't have to say taqabbalullah and get sick with him. And he finishes the prayer, and you get up, and you feel some leftover bliss from the prayer, and it's a good time. You're walking to the shoe rack, and then, of course, some guy gets on the mic. Excuse me, there is a white Toyota Corolla in the parking lot. And this just sends you down a rabbit hole of thoughts of did this start in the time of the Prophet? Is this a ritual that was around back then? Abu Hudayfa, Mr. Abu Hudayfa, your camel is blocking Abi Damdam's horse. So can you please move? Or was it excuse me, there is a pack of cats behind the camel, Abu Hudayfa's camel. I know that is you. I know that is you, Abu Huraira. No one else has cats around here. And so you and then you see the guy that plopped a seat in front of you get up to move his white Toyota Corolla, and everything makes sense. And you're just happy that you came to the mosque. You crack a smile, and you're happy that you're at the Islamic Center of Southern California, and it's a great Jama'ah as usual. And you promise yourself you'll be here before one next time, even though you totally won't be. Anyway, thank you for having me.